It's the ho-ho holidays, and I'm making some more Christmas cocktails. What am I doing today? I sat down and found myself with some ideas for holiday cocktails, for Christmas cocktails, for whatever it is you celebrate this time of year cocktails, and I wanted to mess around with them and see if I could come up with a couple of fun things for the holidays, things that aren't eggnog, since I did the heck out of eggnog the other day. So that's what I'm doing today. I got a few ideas here for drinks, and maybe they'll be really good drinks that you can add to your repertoire, to your menu for the holidays, to your relaxation agenda that I hope you get to dig deep into and put your feet up and take a break. And maybe they'll be just a jumping off point for you to come up with your own drinks, which is honestly even better in my opinion. All right, so first up I had this idea for a Kringle Collins. Kringle Collins, Christopher Collins. Christopher Collins sounds like a person. Let's go with Kringle Collins. We're gonna call it a Kringle Collins. And to make it, I made this cranberry syrup. Do not make it the way that I made it. Actually, it's a cranberry rosemary syrup, and it's delicious. I made it from cranberries. That was dumb. And then I spun them in a spinzall to get them actually pouring liquidy. And they're perfect now, it's delicious. But you know what you should do is just use cranberry juice instead of water, and don't be stupid like me. Equal parts cranberries, water, and sugar, or cranberry juice. If you're gonna do the juice, I would just use equal parts cranberry juice and sugar, and make sure that you use 100% pure cranberry juice, ideally one that's unsweetened so that you can control that. A lot of cranberry juices, you may not realize this, are sweetened. If you get like unsweetened cranberry juice, it is medicinally tart. And throw in a couple sprigs of rosemary, and you know, I had my doubts actually that the rosemary just thrown in there haphazardly was gonna have a huge effect. This is rosemary awesome. It is super duper cool, tastes like the holidays, and I'm very excited about it. Let's make that Kringle Collins. I'm actually gonna start with, well, my citrus is how I usually start. In my notes, I said lemon, do lemon here. Makes sense, because it's like a riff on a Collins. I've been doing a lot of Collinses with lime lately off camera, and I'm thinking about cranberry. I feel like I kind of want to pair it with lime more. What I'm actually gonna do is split it. I'm gonna do a ½ ounce of each. Do whichever you're feeling. I mean, the differences will just be interesting, you know? Like, it's not like, oh, that'll be a bad drink. It'll just be different, it'll be cool. ½ ounce of lime juice, if I'm lucky, out of that guy. It's so thick, the rind is so thick on this one. Yeah, we got a ½ ounce. Yeah, they make that much of a difference, lime and lemon? Absolutely. Lemons have, if I'm not mistaken, they have more sugar and no malic acid. Limes have malic acid in addition to citric acid, I think. Okay, there we go. 1 ounce of a split lemon lime. I'm gonna match that 1 ounce of my cranberry rosemary syrup, and that might even be a little thick for 1 ounce. But the thing is about these holiday drinks is that, like, you can sweeten them up. This is true about any recipe. Make it to taste. You can modify it. I think even at the, more so than normal at the holidays, you can have a little bit of a heavy hand on the syrups. I give you permission. Oh, wow. I really thought I saved it there too. It's the first episode of the day. Greg's not drunk, he's just a klutz. Just so you guys know, everybody's always like, oh, I can tell it's a fucking no. It's almost always the first episode of the day because I'm old and tired. I can't do multiple episodes in a day anymore. So 2 ounces of gin. I used to be a lightweight, and then they put me on medicine for epilepsy, which my doctor says I can drink on, but, quote, you're gonna be a cheap date. So I went from being a lightweight to a featherweight. 2 ounces of gin, 1 ounce of syrup, 1 ounce of citrus. Follows a really standard sour format. The only difference is that we're gonna carbonate it. One of the things that I think is so cool about like a countertop carbonator is that you can carbonate a whole cocktail instead of having to add club soda to a drink that you're thinning out. And typically, let's say traditionally, something like a Collins would not be shook, I don't think, because you're getting your dilution from adding the seltzer. So we're gonna skip that. We're gonna carbonate the whole cocktail, and because of that, we're gonna shake it so that we get our water into the drink that way. Also, between you and me, this is a double. You didn't see me do that, but I poured a double just to make sure I had enough to get to the wash line. Don't do that though. I'm gonna take my Drinkmate. You guys know I love these things, and I love them so much that they became a sponsor of the show. Drinkmate is by far my favorite countertop carbonator. You can carbonate anything in it, including cocktails. Some other guys tell you can't do this. We say nerds to them. This is also part of the reason why I made a double. I personally find this just works a little bit better when you have a bit more volume. When you have your carbonating chamber a little bit more full. There we go. A lot of people don't know this either. They think, oh, you're gonna get all the gas out. That's not true. That would be true if I did this in a lower pressure bottle, like a serving bottle, and then took the lid off, and then the gas would come out. But this actually is exposing More surface area of the liquid to the high pressure carbon dioxide, giving it more opportunities to absorb carbon dioxide and become more carbonated. You're shaking it in, okay? And then you let that sit. It's gonna hiss a little bit because I've gotten past the safety release. Listen, if you guys want to pick up a DrinkMate, they're my favorite countertop soda maker. They do a great job. I mean, it's the device you want it to be. Link down here and up here in the corner. Code how to drink at checkout. And they also make syrups as well. Thank you, DrinkMate. And pick one up. Let that pressure off using the release. That's another reason why you shake it up, because this has this slow release valve that you open up so that it doesn't immediately blast all the gas out of there. Take my glass, put some ice into your glass. So many options to garnish this with. I actually was thinking lemon, but now that I'm seeing how beautiful red that is, I want to go lime, offset that with a little green. Lime wheel and a sprig of fresh rosemary. Put that guy in there, put a straw in there. You're off to holiday town. Ho, ho, ho. What a delicious riff on the Collins. It's tart and bright and fruited. The rosemary adds this like very mild, savory, familiar element. It really, I don't know how to, what emotionally is it doing to the drink? Something Christmassy. Oh, that's great. And it's fun. Isn't that fun? So fresh. I actually think it could be sweeter. I'm used to working with a 2-to-1 simple. I made this 1-to-1 because I wanted to be able to, I thought it would help me get more cranberry in there. But I do think this could be even sweeter. I know, sounds crazy. Or you could use less citrus. I'm gonna add another ½ an ounce though of my simple, which will cover about the difference between using a 1-to-1 and a 2-to-1 simple. And also I think I should get more cranberry flavor out of this, of course now. Yeah, that's even better. That's more where you want it to be. You get this balanced sweet and tart action going on here. Whole thing is very fizzy, thanks to carbonating the entire cocktail. Love that. It's a wonderful thing for a carbonated drink. Should be carbonated. Makes your mouth water. It's bright and it's fresh and it's got a mild savory element that really kind of, it's not piney, but there's something about rosemary that calls to mind foresty kind of evergreen notes. I don't know, in my mind. It's gotta be a cousin to juniper. I don't know. That's the Kringle Collins. All right, now it's time to make Granny's Gingerbread-tini. This drink actually came up the other day when I was doing a review of all of this year's pre-bottled eggnogs, and one of them happened to be not an eggnog, it was Granny's gingerbread cream. And I said, yeah, you can make a Gingerbread-tini, and I kind of gave a spec, so let's make it. The first thing you're gonna do is grind up some graham crackers. You could not do this if you wanted to. You could use a choppy spice grinder. You could just like pound them with a hammer. You could skip this entirely. It's up to you. I happen to have this mortar and pestle handy, and that's the way I'm gonna do it. Mortar and pestle is pretty incredible. Like as far as like a tool goes, sucker's unreal. It's ancient, very effective. There we go, a fine powder of graham cracker. Let's see, glassware for this guy? Yeah, this stemless martini glass. For Granny's Gingerbread-tini, you're gonna need a little chocolate syrup. I don't know that I've ever done this before. Yeah, that's the ticket. Just kind of gently paint the outside of your glass in chocolate syrup and then dip it into graham cracker. I think I'm gonna have to dump the graham cracker out here because doing it inside the mortar and pestle is impossible. There we go. That's our glass rimmed. Okay, set that aside. Into your shaker glass. Let me see, how many proofs is this? It's only 12.5%. So we're gonna need some booze to get it all the way up there. Poor old Granny. Do 1.5 ounces of Granny's gingerbread cream. Do 1.5 ounces of your choice, cognac or vodka. Holidays, you know, neutral. Vodka, can't go wrong. Christmassy, cognac, let's do it. This will be the heavier version. 1/2 ounce of chocolate liqueur. In this case, creme de cacao from Tempus Fugit. And that's it, we're just gonna shake that up. All right, strain that into your graham cracker encrusted glass. This is not the kind of drink I usually reach for, but it might be the kind of drink your guests want. This glass demands a double, so SOL on that front. And then, I don't know, garnish it how you like. I think whipped cream is extremely acceptable here, and I was thinking that, but then I remembered I brought these guys, and I think maybe just hanging a candy cane off of it is fun. Here we are, Granny. Give me a gingerbread cream. No one's gonna hate that. The only complaint you could have is that it's very sweet. Oh my God, that's delicious. Ho, ho, ho. I mean, it is dessert, but it's delicious. With the graham cracker crust, which is what it is, graham cracker crust, it's a lot like a pie. Great. Sweet, definitely boozy, but not too boozy. It's chocolatey. There's a gingerbread cookie kind of thing happening in there. It's creamy. No complaints, Granny. Damn, that's too good. That's way too good. If you wanted it to be richer, throw in an ounce of heavy cream or top it with whipped cream. All of those are certainly options. I think it's nice just like this, honestly. I really like the cognac in there too. It brings out this late arriving tobacco note, which is a level of complexity one would not expect in a Granny's Gingerbread-tini. Some things can just taste good. Some things, you know, they can just be fun and tasty. Thanks, Granny. All right, this is a drink I wrote down. I called it a Santa Sour. So I came up with this idea for a Santa Sour. I'm interested to see how it turns out. My thinking here was that I always describe things as the Christmas spices, things that show up in like Amaro, things that show up in like Angostura bitters and stuff like that. So why not do a drink really kind of elevates those without being overpowering, something that's still approachable, but maybe that's a bit more mature, for somebody who likes a bourbon, right? We've got two hyper accessible Christmas cocktails. This is for somebody who likes a drink. So we're gonna start with a half an ounce of lemon juice. Oh, and by the way, all of these drinks will be on the HTD app, like as soon as this episode comes out. Some people are using the show as their own personal cocktail guide. I know that YouTube is a terrible way to do that. It's like not a very handy way to have the drinks that I've made at your disposal. And by the way, thank you. That is a huge honor. So I made this thing. I call it HTD app. You can find it at htdapp.com. Half an ounce of lemon juice. It's a benefit for the members of my Patreon. If you sign up, you'll get access. It has every drink I've ever made on the show. So far as I know, about 1,300 drinks in there, although the data set is always being refined by Meredith mostly, and sometimes me. I'm more adding features and refining the UI and that kind of stuff. And yep, I built it. It is the first app I ever built. I've never programmed anything else in my life. It's kind of crazy that I threw that together. This whole show is made possible through the support of Patreon. It really is necessary to keeping the lights on. So if you want to check it out, use the link in the pin comment below. Go up here in the corner, or just go to htdapp.com. And it is a web app. It's not on like the App Store or anything like that. It's htdapp.com, but it's mobile forward. Half an ounce of Simple. I'm gonna up that. I'm gonna go 3/4 of an ounce of Simple. I'm gonna go to an ounce of Simple. Jesus. Half an ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of Simple. 2 to 1. I said it's gonna be accessible, but it's still gonna be on the sweeter end of the spectrum. Half an ounce of Amaro de Angostura. I really like this. It has all the things I like about Angostura. And actually, let's make it 3/4 of an ounce Amaro de Angostura. All the things I like about Angostura bitters, less of the bitter. It's also like lower proof. Angostura is like 60 or 70% ABV, and Amaro Angostura is 35. Let's do 1.5 ounces of the bourbon of choice. I'm using Baker's 7. I haven't opened this bottle in a while, and I've brought it out to be abused, apparently. That's okay, though. You can use your bourbon any way you like. It's your bourbon. I am going to hit it with a little bitters. I'm going to throw in a dash of this cardamom bitters, just a little bit like that. I think cardamom and raisins are extremely Christmassy, you know, especially when you start thinking about like figgy pudding and mincemeat and all of those things that go along with Christmas traditions, particularly in like the UK. That smells like a glass of Christmas. I'm very excited about it. The only question I have is, should I do an egg white on this? Yeah, why not? So I'm gonna have to cut real quick. All right, I'm gonna throw an egg white in there because I like an egg white in a sour. Should I have done that first? Absolutely. It was just sort of an afterthought. The reason I should have done it first is, what if I messed up? I have to build the whole drink again. Let's dry shake that. Hit that with some ice. Little ice in there. You got a glass, strain it in. Hadn't planned on it, but I just spotted this dredger full of cinnamon. So I'm going to do half of this thing with a dusting of cinnamon. Terrible. Don't do that. The result was awful. In fact, I'm going to avoid that when I drink from it. You know, you got to make mistakes. You got to break some eggs to make omelets. They're not always good ideas. I would do a balanced cinnamon stick on there. I don't know. I thought I could do that. Did not work out. Anyway, here we are, a Santa Sour. It's fantastic. Oh my God, it's a riot of flavors, but all of them in balance. Approachable, round and sweet, silky texture, raisins, in the best way possible. I don't always love the raisin note that I get in some cognacs. It's there, I like it. I don't always love it. This is very raisiny, and I think it's coming from, obviously, the raisin cardamom bitters. Cinnamon, allspice and clove, warm and mellow and round. I'm gonna put this out under my tree this year for Santa. I'm gonna leave carrots for the reindeer. We're gonna leave him a cookie, and we're gonna put out a gingerbread-tini and also one of these and see which one's left in the morning. I have a feeling Santa's gonna take them both, but we'll see. It's very nice. I was actually worried that egg white was like a last minute addition. I was worried it wasn't gonna build up a nice head, but you see that beautiful line. That is perfect. That is exactly what you want from a sour with an egg white in it. Clean separation, fantastic frothy head, silky texture, bubbles the size of a micron. Everything is happening the way it's supposed to in there. It is a delight. It's not challenging. It's a wonderful presentation for the bourbon. In fairness, you could use a less rare bourbon, not that Baker's is, you know, top shelf. What a Christmassy, delightful drink. It's a sour, but it's lower, it's definitely a sour. Per the rules of cocktailedom, this is a sour. It is not a terrifically sour sour. It's a Santa sour. This is a North Pole sour. It's a little Kringly. It's a warmer sour. It's a spiced sour. It's a very nice sour. I love it. And that's where I'm gonna leave you today. However, I do have one more of these cocktails I wanna make. It's called a Merry Mele Katiki Maka. It's a tiki Christmas drink I got some ideas for, and I'm gonna make that drink a patron exclusive because I haven't done that in a minute. My members of my Patreon, sometimes we do exclusive cocktails. The fourth, the fifth, whatever drink of an episode goes over to them. But thank you all so much for watching. Do check out my Patreon. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday. Try out these drinks. Stand on their shoulders. Try to see what else you can do with them. Think about spices in your drinks. Think about using Amaros as sweeteners. Think about unusual rims and garnishes. Think about how to get cranberry into things, cinnamon into things. If you follow some of the balanced like the balances here, you know, if you understand that typical sours are an ounce of sour to an ounce of sweet, and you play with that ratio, well, I want this one a little bit more sour. I want this one a little bit less sour. Okay, you can dial that in. I want this one to have some spice elements. You can dial that in from those basic foundational formula parts. And hopefully this is giving you ideas to create your own Christmas cocktails. Until then, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I'm Greg, and this has been How to Drink, and I'll see you next time on How to Drink.